ನಮೋ ರಮಣ ರೇವತಿ ಅಕ್ಕ ನಮೋ ನಮೋ ರಮಣ ಜಯಶ್ರೀ ಮೇಡಮ್.
ನಮೋ ರಮಣ ದಿಲೀಪ್ ಸರ್. ನಮೋ ರಮಣ ಅಕ್ಕ.
ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಕ್ಕದು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಅಕ್ಕ, we are not able to hear.
You have to mute on your phone, Revati. ध्ययेत् शारदचन्द्रसुन्दरमुखम् ताम्रारविन्देक्षणम् भक्ताभीष्टवराभयप्रदकरम् कौपीनमात्रोज्ज्वलम् स्वात्मानन्दरसानुभूतिविवशम् सर्वानवद्याङ्गकम् श्रीमन्तं श्रीरमणेश्वरं गुरुवरं योगासनाध्यासितम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहमहमिति साक्षादात्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामच्युतव पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्. Namo Ramana. In the Tuesday Satsangh from Ramanacentre for Learning, Bengaluru, we usually commence with a book reading where we listen to Bhagavan's Upadesham. And today we will be starting with Akka's talk. She will be contemplating on self-enquiry as it has been done in Ramana Gita, which is a composition of Ganapati Muni, which is basically questions put to Bhagavan by various devotees and devotees of Ganapati Muni, and that has been compiled in Sanskrit verses. So after that, I will be taking up the Atma Vichara, or the contemplation of Bhagavan's teaching as it has been captured by Mahakrishna Swami in the book Years in the Presence of Ramana, My Master. After that, we will have a 20 minutes self-enquiry session and then the concluding prayers to Bhagavan. Over to Sharda Akka now.
Namo Ramana, prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings, by the immense grace of the self, manifest as Ramana. We, in this part of the Satsangh, which today we have shifted to the first part, are meditating on the compilation by Ganapati Muni of Bhagavan's answers to the questions of various seekers of truth, the compilation being in Sanskrit in 18 chapters and entitled Ramana Gita. We are now meditating on the 15th chapter, which is on the very significant and much thought about scriptural injunctions of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. This is considered to be the traditional form of practice for attaining self-knowledge. And Ganapati Muni has asked Bhagavan, what actually is Shravana? What actually is Manana? And what is truly Nididhyasana? And Bhagavan started by telling that Shravana is normally considered, normally he doesn't say, by some it is considered to be that what is the listening to scriptures. Listening to scriptures. And we said that listening to scriptures means listening to any of the texts, the sacred texts, which include, of course, Bhagavan's sacred texts like Upadesha Saram, Ulladu Narpadu, and several Arunachala Stuti Panchakam, the Ramana Gita itself, Guru Vachaka Kovai, so many of these sacred texts, the Ramana Shastra which is there. So listening to that is considered to be manana. Vedashishastha vakyanam artha vyakyana purvakam acharya shravanam kechit shravanam parichakshate. To listen to the vyakyanas, to listen to the Vedas, the scriptural injunctions, the shastras, all this, and how through the acharya, through the guru, is considered to be Shravana. Some say that this is Shravana, says Bhagavan. Apare Shravanam prahur acharya dvititatmanah giram bhasha mayinam cha swarupam bodhayantiya. Or he says that listening to the truth or listening to the words of the knower of the truth. That is just listening directly to whatever the Jivan Mukta is saying, whatever the Sadguru is telling, whatever Bhagavan says, that becomes Shravana. Say, because Bhagavan will say different things to different people also. It is said that one of his playmates, he was called Pokiri Mani, and Pokiri means very mischievous, extroverted, and he came to Bhagavan and he said that I am not going to prostrate to him. Where he is Venkatraman, he is younger than me also. But the moment he came, he simply melted and fell flat at Bhagavan's feet. And he kept asking Bhagavan for Upadesha. Bhagavan said, why don't you simply stay? Why don't you just be Shiva Shiva? In Tamil there is a Shiva Shiva nirnukoye. Why are you pestering me like this? But he took that as a Upadesha. In fact, it comes in the story of Kabir Das that he wanted to get Upadesha from Ramananda Swami. But Ramananda Swami was not ready to give him Upadesha because he is a Muslim. So one day Kabir lay down on the banks of the river Ganga. Both of them were at Varanasi. He lay down on the banks, on the steps of one of the bathing ghats where Ramananda Swami would come every day. And when Ramananda Swami, not noticing that Kabir was lying there in his path, he stepped on him. And because he stepped on him, he said, oh, Rama Rama. He said, Rama Rama. And Kabir said, I have got my initiation. I've got my initiation. Rama Rama. That is the initiation. So any word from the mouth of the sacred ones, any word which is uttered is actually Upadesha, is actually Shastra. Is it not only the words which are put into texts like Upadesha Saram, which are the strongest texts or which spring forth from Bhagavan as poetry. Not only those, but any word falling from the lips of one who is a Jivan Mukta. Listening to such words, so he says, those who are abiding in the self, such words, listening to such words is said to be Shravana. Shrutva Vedanta Vakyani Nija Vakyani Vaguro Janmantariya Punyena Gyatva Vobhayamantara. Usually by listening to Vedanta Vakya, one comes to know about the truth. Or by listening to the words of the Sadguru, one comes to know about the truth. But it is possible that other than these two ways, there is a third way. And what is that? Janmantariya Punyena. By just the force of good samskaras, by the force of the punya accumulated through several births, it will become known. Listening to the truth, oneself one can understand. One need not pay attention, listen to it from outside, but one's own heart will declare the truth. That heart declaring the truth, Bhagavan says, how does the heart declare the truth? It declares the truth as I. It is declaring the truth. And this one can hear. How can one hear? One can hear it because one has studied the scriptures, and in ripeness of time one may hear the spurana, the aham spurana. Or because one has listened to the words of the Sadguru also, one may hear the aham spurana. Or else one may hear the aham spurana because of one's own accumulated merit, accumulated sadhana, the merit of accumulated sadhana, which has to be completed. See, because Arjuna asks Bhagavan Krishna, "Oh Krishna, you are saying I should do this sadhana, I should attain self-knowledge. But in the process, while I am at it, when I am practicing and I have not yet reached the goal, what if I die? It is not in my hands. What if the life force goes away? Will my practice be futile? If I have not reached the truth, if I have not reached steady self-abidance, and I am going in and out of the self, and in the meantime I pass away, then what happens to all my sadhana?" Then Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells him, nothing is a waste. You will take over, you will go forward from where you have left off. If you have finished second standard sadhana during your first, this janma, next you will automatically go to third standard. From the next janma, at the appropriate time, the sadhana will get continued. It will continue in the manner that it had started off. So, that assurance Gita Acharya gives to Arjuna. So here Bhagavan is subtly indicating that by saying Janmantariya Punyena Jnatva Vobhayam Antara. And what is this experience that you will know? Internally, the experience is Aham Pratyaya Moolam Tvam Sharirader Vilakshanaha. You will be able to understand the spurana as I. The throbbing of the I, or the root of the I thought. Where does this throbbing take place? In the heart. So, Bhagavan says, Aham pratyaya moolam tvam sharirader vilakshana itidam shravanam chittat shravanam vastuto bhavet. Chittat shravanam. Shravanam vastuto. In this way, to listen with the interned mind, to listen in the heart, to the throbbing of I. Bhagavan says, that is only true Shravana. Listening to the I. Listening to that is the true Shravana. Although the great ones, the learned ones, say listening to the scriptures is Shravana, or listening to Guru Vakya is Shravana, indeed, listening to the heart is true Shravana, says Bhagavan. Vadanti mananam kechet शास्त्रार्थस्य विचारणं वस्तुतो मननं तात स्वरूपस्य विचारणम्. So in the next part, Bhagavan will answer as to what is manana. Now Shravana we have understood, but it means that consciously we have to keep listening to the self that is throbbing within. We have to keep listening to it or fix the attention on it, says Bhagavan. And by Bhagavan's grace, this is where we are being led. That is the whole scheme of Bhagavan. We need not worry, we need not doubt ourselves. On the contrary, if we have some time to doubt ourselves, we can turn the attention inward. We need not worry about the ability, but we should turn attention inward whenever possible. We should question the identity, but not doubt our ability, because that is supported by Bhagavan's grace. Keep trying to be alert to the Aham Spurana. And of course, let that be supported by the other Shravana, the Shravana of the scriptures. All that supports our turning inwards to the Aham Spurana. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana. ಇಲ್ಲೇನೋ ಒಂದು ಬಂದು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಇದನ್ನು.
Namo Ramana. In this part of the Satsang, we will be reading about Bhagavan as it has been written by Mahakrishna Swami in the book Years in the Presence of Ramana, My Master. And it is Mahakrishna Swami's record, account of his stay in Ramanashramam that he has recorded here. And he is talking about the daily life at the ashram. And he goes on to say that Bhagavan is never found to be a stereotyped manner. It was always, we couldn't understand or couldn't say that this is how he would be. And he continues to talk about how he lived an integrated life with reality, peace and harmony, and how he would be so simple and approachable by everybody. Though all the activities of him began 4 in the morning and devotees started to come up 5 o'clock, that nothing of work was stopped. That also continued. So he continues to narrate how it happened. We look into that this week. We learned much from him by the manner in which he behaved, by the subtlety and affection in the performance of the daily tasks. When there were no visitors at the ashram and when he was not working on a book, Sri Ramana whittled on a new staff which he used during his strolls. Whittle means he would prepare a staff which was there, the wood, chipping off of the wood. So Sri Ramana whittled on a new staff which he used during his strolls, washed his own clothes, fixed the bucket used to draw water from the well, prepared leaves to be used as plates, bound books, or accomplished other useful activities. He did all with perfection and love, no matter how trivial the task appeared. Sri Ramana took the same care and perfection in preparing a great ritual as he did in making a package or arranging an object on a shelf. Not even his first drafts were careless. He executed everything with great zeal, despite its destiny, for him, for himself, for visitors, for disciples, or for animals. What a beautiful way. When we look at Bhagavan here and the tasks of him, and obviously we are looking at Bhagavan activities in the manifested field. And now, as sadhakas, we are all in that plane. So, we can understand how Bhagavan did this. Anything that he did in the manifested plane, he says, he did all with and love. How beautiful. All the activities which Bhagavan did was in perfection. So, if we have been drawn to him, no doubt that it will all end up being perfection. As Akka was saying, we need not doubt. We need not waste our time doubting whether we will be able to reach that self, because it is that of Bhagavan to make sure that we do, and he's being a perfectionist and with love. And what is that with love? Whatever comes to him, however which way it comes to him, he would take it up, no matter how trivial that might be. That means no matter as sadhakas how little we do sadhana, it doesn't matter. His perfection approach and his love towards us will get the job done, is what Mahakrishna Swami is stating here. So there is hope, as Bhagavan says, there is hope for all of us. Sri Ramana took the care and perfection in preparing a great ritual as he did in making a package or arranging an object on a shelf. Not even his first draft were careless. How beautiful. So everything was done in perfection as an offering to whatever the destiny has. So he says he executed everything with great zeal despite its destiny for himself, which is for himself, for visitors, or for disciples, or for animals. So everything he would do and let how the destiny shapes it up, uses it further in the story of the life, let it do. That's how it would be done with lot of love and perfection. Continuing, Mahakrishna Swami says, the instruction was that nothing should be wasted. Nothing could be useful in some form should be thrown away. In India, it is the custom to scorn the remains of food because it is believed that a day after its preparation, the food becomes impure. In the ashram, however, the discipline was that no food that could be consumed should be rejected. All is provided by the divine and therefore should be used with respect. This was also true for food. Not a grain of rice remained in his plate when Bhagavan finished eating. The vegetable peels were not thrown away, but reserved for the cattle. Bhagavan Sri Ramana used to prepare various types of chutney, normally prepared with coconut, aromatic herbs, and diverse spices. He always used the most common type of seeds and herbs and was specialist in preparing delicious dishes with the most simple of ingredients. When some different food was ready, he offered a little to all who were present in the kitchen to try. and all received it as prasada, food blessed by the master. And he himself says, would not waste a grain. And he says that everything which has a form has been ordained by the divine, and therefore it has to be used. So it is that he took everything as prasadam, and everything that came out from him to all of us also is nothing but prasadam. How beautiful it has been captured here. Someone complained to Sri Ramana that the food prepared was very pungent, so full of pepper and spices that his stomach burned. This person desired a mild food and said, if sattvic food, pure natural, is fundamental for spiritual practice, why is the food at the ashram so spicy? Ramana explained that if the ingredients are pure and if they are prepared correctly in a clean place, the spices is a question of taste and habit and does not make the food less sattvic. In some religions, he said, the people eat only milk and rice and still express the ego in the most grotesque manner. On the other hand, there exist people who eat normal food, including strong spices, and are very tranquil and lovable. We must prepare a food that is agreeable to all. Those who believe that it is too strong can dilute it with rice, milk, or yogurt. So the subtle plane, though all of it was talked about till now on the grosser plane, Bhagavan is saying that the subtle plane is more important. The plane of the mind and the intellect, and those have to understand that they need to be more sattvic. Not the physical things, though it may help us, but that is not mostly necessary. If the subtle plane is sattvic, if it is in you know in tranquil and lovable mode, everything outside really doesn't matter. So Bhagavan is saying that the sadhana, the attention has to be given more to the inner and the subtle plane. It is very important that in preparing food, no matter what it is, those who do should be neutral in relation to the anxieties and thoughts. When it occurs, when it occurred that those people were in disharmony, Sri Ramana harmonized them with his wise words and helped them to prepare the food. So again, the emphasis is on the subtle plane. And for us, Bhagavan's Atma Vichara, to whom is this, who am I, is the way to tackle our anxieties and thoughts. That is the way to take it whenever we get anxiety, whenever we have lot of thoughts. We need not worry. There is no Sri Ramana to harmonize. His Upadesham, to whom is this, who am I, takes us back to that self, and therefore brings that neutrality, brings that tranquility and lovability. This is the sadhana path for us. Further, there was the discipline that until the last meal was served and the kitchen cleaned, the disciples should occupy themselves only in their tasks. I repeat, there was the discipline that until the last meal was served and the kitchen clean, the disciples should occupy themselves only in this task. To sit for meditation or to be in the company of the master at unscheduled hours was strongly discouraged. Bhagavan Sri Ramana thought that the work is the first of he of the divine virtues and is fundamental for self-consciousness. It is a way of occupying the thinking mind and keeping the balance. Work, no matter what it be, is the dynamic force that flows from the Supreme Self. For this force to be expressed, it is necessary to remove the inner block, overcoming despondency, weakness, and idleness. When it occasionally occurred, even though unconsciously, from someone observing a new visitor or paying attention to something that did not pertain to him, Bhagavan simply looked at that person saying, "You better go back to your work. Don't look for trouble." At the night after the last meal, we all reunited with the master in the ashram hall. The visitor had already retired, so we sat in front of him, who talked with us and also gave instructions for the following day. Sometimes the disciples would read the sacred scriptures. Each one of them read a paragraph out loud for the whole group. The book the books are the registers of the teachings and must be used as a reference for the clarification of doubts. And at certain points, Sri Ramana translated in few words the teaching which at first appeared complex. He elucidated their meaning and application. The reading went on for approximately 2 hours. So here we see that first is the Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga goes on, and even yesterday in the story of the Parvati closing the eyes of Shiva, that means when we become ignorant of the self and we take ourselves to be more important, or when we want more attention, that is exactly what Bhagavan says. That story happened after Parvati and Shiva played the nrityam and gave the boons to all the people. And Shiva was smilingly looking at Parvati. And she thought that she is got the full attention from Shiva. And she got into a playful mood. Like that, we also take the ego when the attention of the self is full on it, we take that to be real and all attention is available. Therefore, we forget the self and we take ourselves to be the most important thing. And then we close the self or we hide it, we veil it, and then take this division, this first person I to be the most important thing. This I, which is associated with the body, thinking that this is me, as oneself, then the whole problem starts because the light of the self is no more regarded. So then she comes down first to Kashi or Varanasi, where she finds everybody is there is full of drought and everybody is hungry. So there she goes on to feed all of them. That is with Karma Yoga that she goes on to do to bring the balance back. That is what Bhagavan is saying here, that the Karma Yoga has to be done with full attention, full offering every of the result to the Ishvara. And when we continue to do that, then as that comes to an end, when all the visitors of the Karma Yoga are gone, then Bhagavan becomes available. There is that reunited the night after the last meal when they all sat down, and then there is the story of bhakti that goes on, which is beautifully said by Bhagavan, and then the reading of the scriptures, the clearing of the doubts. So all of that, the more deeper association with the self starts. So Karma Yoga is very important and for the Chitta Shuddhi. And once the Chitta Shuddhi happens, the mind becomes more capable of having the ekagrita, of developing the one pointedness to its Ishta, to its God or its Guru, whoever its Ishta. That's how the journey goes on, says Bhagavan here. We will look at the next portion in the next week with Bhagavan's immense grace. with which alone we have come to this most direct path. For the next 20 minutes, no matter how many thoughts come, no matter whatever is the things that appear as an object, we should diligently inquire to whom is this, and whether it is a gross thing or a subtle thing like a thought doesn't matter. Whenever the triputi is there, then we know that we are in the plane of the ego, the plane where the association between the conscious entity and the Jada entity. Even a thought is a Jada, even the body is a Jada. So there is some association happening there. Therefore, we should become diligent and inquire to whom is this, says Bhagavan. And then the answer would come that this is for me. Thereupon, we should inquire who am I? What do I refer to as I? When we turn the attention from the Jada, from the act of seeing the Jada, to who is the one who is seeing it? I. So, who is this I? When we turn the attention to find out who the I is, obviously we find ourselves to be the pure self, the pure consciousness, which is unbrokenly shining as I at all times. It is the one which can recognize everything else. And when the consciousness, when that pure consciousness attends to itself, then it is attending to the Spurana. And in that, all things drop away. Bhagavan says that is the farthest that we can do. And from there on, Bhagavan says the self takes over. And that is the practice of Atma Vichara that Bhagavan has prescribed us. With Bhagavan's immense grace, for the next 20 minutes, let us practice Atma Vichara. Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya Apara Satchit Sukhavarirashi Yasyormimatram Bhuvaram Samastam Guhahitam Tam Ramanam Gabhiram Chintavihiram Hrudi Chintayami Chintavihinam Hrudi Chintayami. Namo Ramana. Thank you all.